Good morning. It's Tuesday. It's September. I need to change my calendar. It's the day after Labor Day. And you know what? I'm just not in the mood. I'm just not in the mood at all. I'm just generally irritable about what? Nothing in particular. Nothing has happened. I think I'm just in the mood, or in a mood. I would rather be at home right now, sleeping. Wishing that I was just independently wealthy and that I, in fact, didn't have to work to make a living. Although I love what I do. It's just one of those days where I'm like, I'd rather be at home being leisurely. I think it could be because this week I have a few things going on. This Friday is our first rally, this leadership's class. This is their first rally. It's a 6th grade rally. It's only for 6th graders, obviously. So the nice thing is that the 6th graders have never seen a rally before. And so they don't know this woman. They don't know what they're looking at. So they wouldn't know if it's good or not. So, but still, like, it's just a lot of anxiety on my end. Hold on, I have to respond to this parent. So there's that. So today actually shouldn't be too difficult. They have a quiz on Clap When You Land tomorrow, or today. Unfortunately, I think there's going to be several kids that are not going to be prepared and they're not going to do well, just based on the last one. And we can wrap, and then we're going to do history. So in history, we are in lesson 2 of TCI, which focuses on European exploration. And again, the goal is to really kind of scale that down so that we can get further along in history. And the activity in this lesson that is organized by TCI is they have to conduct this interview of different people involved in European exploration. So like, one interview is from the perspective of the Taino people, one interview is from the perspective of, I think, the Dutch, and then one interview is from the perspective of the French. So I basically assign each group what perspective they're going to be in charge of. They script out an interview with factual information. They record it. Last year, I'm pretty sure I did it on, I can't think of that platform right now, Flipgrid. And we watched it, and that was essentially their test for that unit. So I mentioned it to the kids, but we haven't gotten into detail about it, but that's on the horizon for today. I don't think that we're going to be able to touch on the literary analysis lesson that we started on Friday, because the quiz can take a minute, and we'll just see how it goes. If we do, I think what I need to do is talk to them about with literary analysis, when they start analyzing text evidence, it's like they really have to start relying on text to self or text to world experiences to be analytical about the text. That's going to be my strategy if we get to that today. But anyway, I'm going to check in with you later, possibly during my prep, but I just want to say good morning and say I'm not in the mood. So I'll talk to you guys later. It's 2:41, school's over. I have a meeting in 4 minutes and I'm about to pack up 4. And you know, it was rough today. It was rough in the sense that Miss Lawrence and I collectively are just really shook by the lack of willingness to complete assignments this year, and to the point where we decided to have a family meeting. Like, both our classes met together after lunch and we really talked to them as a whole so that they knew it wasn't like just me feeling that way about one class. and or her feeling that way about one class, but it's just the way we feel about both classes. And of course, there are some kids that are getting their work done and they're doing a great job, but there's just so many that aren't, and just aren't doing very straightforward, clear assignments for no real reason. The assignments are not difficult, they're not hard, they're not ambiguous, they're just not doing it. And so I think I opened that conversation by saying, guys, this is a historical moment. And sometimes historical moments are historical for good reason, and then sometimes they're historical for not so good reasons, and that's kind of where we're at. So we just really kind of were very direct about how out of hand it is, and that we would kind of understand and have sympathy if this was like week 1 or week 2, but in just about a week and a half, we would have completed 6 weeks. So they've been here for a while, and the assignments we give are pretty routine. And so to be this far into the school year and still just not do what you're supposed to be doing, for us at this age and grade level, given the fact that they're going to high school next year and the demands are only going to be greater, it's just unacceptable. And we really wanted them to know that. And like I said, I was very direct and said, this is what's going on. Some of you are about to be in such a deep hole that you're not going to know how to get yourself out of it, because some of them have D's when they really should have F's, because I don't give zeros for anything. I always give 50% credit. Hold on. Yeah, your homeroom. Everyone else, I feel like, are on IEPs. And I know they don't necessarily want that. It's always great. All right, I'll probably see you tomorrow. Okay, bye. That was Taylor. I don't remember what I was saying, but just kids not getting stuff done. And we've just never had it be this prevalent. And it's quite shocking, to the point where we're like, were they doing any work last year? Were they required? And we know they were, but it's just that it's been that bad. So needless to say, I didn't get to check in during prep, but man, tomorrow for sure, you guys, tomorrow I'm going to show you what we're doing for social studies. I'm going to show you the Google Forms I created to make sure every student in the group at least knows the basic information about European exploration and the different perspectives provided, and then they turn that information into a script that is supposed to be made to look like they're conducting a news interview. And I wish I could show you the videos, but I can't because it has student faces on it. So I showed them a sample from last year, and that was pretty much all that we did. They took their Clap When You Land quiz today. That's where the audacity came from. My homeroom class was like, what do you mean we have a quiz today? I didn't know we had a quiz today. You didn't tell us we had a quiz. And when I tell you, every daily slide of every day last week informed them that they did in fact have a quiz today, and that I also download copies of the daily slide and post that on Google Classroom so they can go home and see that. And that too surprisingly announced that there was a quiz today. When they said that, I just about lost my mind, because that was right after we had a little lesson on respect, and I was talking about different ways that students can show respect to teachers. And I said one way that a lot of you don't think of is just like doing your work, completing your work, and taking care of assignments. And right after that, they were like, you didn't tell us we had a quiz. I didn't know we had a quiz. I just assumed we weren't going to take the quiz today because yesterday was a holiday. It just didn't go over well. So we had a little family meeting, talked it through. Hopefully some of them heard it and we'll start adjusting. But I said, if not, I'm not gonna have the conversation anymore. There's really nothing else for me to say. I've been saying the same thing over and over again. And now at this point, we're just gonna let the chips fall where they will. They'll have to explain to their parents what's going on, and then we'll go from there. So I am late for my meeting. I'm gonna head over there, and then I have to leave that meeting early because I have an appointment at 4, another therapy appointment that I feel like after today is needed. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Good morning. It's Wednesday, 7:20. I'm on my way to work. And I got home last night, or actually, I got home yesterday early evening. I left, I think the last time I spoke to you, I was on my way to a meeting and then to a therapy session, and that so far has always been helpful and beneficial, just to talk about whatever comes to mind. But then when I got home, and I had been feeling that way on the way to the therapy session, I just felt like anxiety. I'm assuming that's what the feeling is, like when you just feel like someone's sitting on your chest. And I think it's just like the anxiety of the rally this Friday, coupled with just, I don't know, it's not anxiety, but I think it's just frustration with the general lack of effort from so many students this year that is more pronounced than in years past. It's like, you know, I'm working really hard, but the work is not being matched by a good portion of students for whatever reason. So it's frustrating. And so I think sometimes I let that kind of stuff get to me and I take it personally, which in some ways is good, but some ways it's not. Right now I don't think it's a good thing. And I have a meeting with a parent after school today. This is the parent that, in my opinion, insulted me and insinuated that I put no thought into the lessons and the assignments that I give students, which I said last week is never going to go over well with me. So I have that meeting after school today, and it's not anxiety about that meeting because I feel very good and confident in what I choose to give my students as assignments. It's just annoyance, like just general annoyance, just the feeling of being disrespected. I mean, really, that's what it is. And that's how I went to bed, just feeling like, ugh. This morning, I'm going to wake up with it is what it is attitude. Not in the sense that I'm not going to try, I'm not going to give my full effort and 100%, but in the sense that I can't control what people will or won't do. I can't go home and make the students that are not doing their work do it. I can't make them see the value in something when they're not ready to. But what I am going to do today is I'm going to let them know, and I mentioned this to them yesterday when we had our little family meeting with Taylor and her class, that starting today and until further notice, I'm going to suspend the 50% rule that I have in my grade book that basically says nothing will be put in below 50%. And now if they don't do something, I will put it in as a 0. If they score below 50%, I will give them their actual score. And I think I need to do that just for some of these kids to really see, like, your grades aren't great, but they're better than what they would be even had I not been doing that since the start of the school year. And really just to talk to them about, like, you need to take complete ownership of your grades. And so that's going to be something I let them know, and we're going to go from there. But these things, like this meeting with this parent, the fact that they insulted me without just period, the fact that some students just aren't at a place where they understand, like, they really need to get work done for grades to be good, that has no bearing on who I am as a teacher and how hard I work to make things happen in my classroom. So that's what I'm going to school. That's the attitude I'm going to school with today. That's the energy that I'm giving this Wednesday. So that's really it. I'm just calling to say good morning. I don't think I have a prep period today because it's Wednesday, and on Wednesdays we have grade level meetings, and that's it. So I pretty much will probably be talking to you after school. But today with literary analysis, I think I am going to try a new, I don't know, like, I just, at the end of the day, literary analysis, it's just hard to teach. But I think I'm really going to focus on the idea of, like, when it comes to them being analytical, they are going to have to dig deep and start making text to self and text to world connections in order to, like, thoroughly analyze a piece of text evidence. And then social studies, we started the interview process yesterday, so we're going to continue that. I'd like to read a little bit of Clap Before You Land. We're in the last little section. They take their last quiz next week, and that's what's on the horizon today. Leadership, we're going to practice the rally. And just hope for the best. This happens every year. I'm always stressed, and it always turns out well. And my whole "it is what it is" attitude, even with the rally, I have to remember the kids that are going to be seeing this rally, they've never seen a rally before. So they're probably going to think it's great no matter how smoothly I think it goes. So that's where we're at. I will check in with you guys as soon as I can. It is 3:30. School ended an hour ago. I just finished the parent meeting that I talked about this morning. Luckily, it went pretty smoothly. I feel like the parent was able to say their piece. Miss Lawrence or Taylor and I were able to say our piece, and I think there was just some misunderstanding of what was and was not happening in both our classes, and I feel like we all left there feeling satisfied with the resolution. So that's good. And what's even better is today was a better day. I think coming to school and saying, you know what, I can't control everything, I can only do so much, was exactly the right attitude to take. I had a good day with both my classes, and I think my strategy with this language arts lesson proved to be what I really needed to do, which really just meant I had to really think through how to phrase things to kids and really talk them through the process. And after doing that, I felt like both classes were successful. So basically in this literary analysis unit, one of the short stories we read was Fish Cheeks. And we are getting very close to the part where they're gonna actually be writing this literary analysis essay where they're comparing two things. And so for this lesson, I chose Fish Cheeks, which is one of 3 stories that we've read, just because it's short. Like the other short stories are short stories, but they're multi-paged, and my kids have never done this work before, and I think the way this lesson plan is designed, it seems like the assumption is you maybe have done this already or you're further along in the school year. So I just am keeping it to the shorter stories just to make it more accessible for students. Not to mention I do also teach the RSP cluster, so I'm always trying to think of ways to make it more succinct when it comes to instruction. And so if you watch my vlog from Friday, you'll know that we started this last Friday, and it just like it just was rough. It was rough looking at the kids' faces and seeing them just kind of struggle through it. And I really have been kind of thinking about it since then to try and figure out like what can I do to make it better. I'm gonna find the printed out version of this graphic organizer I'm about to show you. So what I decided to do is I needed to add a slide to the Canvas slide presentation that I had already made based on this unit that I bought from Teachers Pay Teachers. If I didn't say, it is from The Hungry Teacher. And I just added a slide that basically the premise was, how do I make literary analysis more accessible? Or what are some first things I need to be doing or thinking about when I'm getting ready to analyze a piece of text evidence? So I made that slide, and let me show it to you. There might be a typo in it, so please excuse that. But here it is. It just says, analyzing text evidence, what can you do to make it easier? And so this is really telling them you want to relate the piece of text evidence to some real world or personal experiences or connections you may have had that helps you to understand how a character might be feeling. Then use that life experience to help you analyze the evidence you chose. So in the story Fish Cheeks, the main character is Chinese. I assume she's Chinese American, like I assume she was born in the country, but her family is Chinese, and they have a family come over for dinner, and the family is a white American family, and she has a crush on the son. And throughout the story, she's just like mortified by her family because they're having this very I guess traditional Chinese meal. And at one point in the dinner, the dad takes his chopsticks, he like pokes the fish eye out of the fish and eats like the cheek meat. And in that moment, she's super mortified. So with this graphic organizer, the purpose is to kind of walk kids through what it looks like to write an evidence-based paragraph. So this is not even the introductory paragraph, nor is it a concluding paragraph. This would be a body paragraph where they introduce some text evidence and provide an analysis of the text evidence. So the first thing it has you do is practice a thesis statement for the overall essay. So just for the ease of it, I said, let's pretend we're all me and we're writing this essay together. And I just provided them a thesis statement because that wasn't necessarily the focus of this assignment, and we had already worked on that before. So I said, my essay, the thesis statement is going to be that the theme of Fish Cheeks by Amy Tan is about cultural acceptance and being proud of who you are. So then what they're supposed to do is to now think about that thesis statement we just came up with, and step one is to write an introductory sentence to a paragraph that is going to provide text evidence and analysis based on that theme. So what I did is I had the groups work together to generate a sentence or two that would act as an introductory sentence to an evidence-based paragraph. Each group worked on it as a whole. I had one representative from each group stand and share their sentence that they wrote, and then I selected the one that I thought was the strongest. So the sentence we chose in one of my classes says, Amy's crush comes over for dinner and she is embarrassed by the cultural food her mother made. So that, in essence, would be the start of a body paragraph where I'm going to be introducing some text evidence and analyzing it. After you come up with that summary sentence, then you need to pick the strongest piece of text evidence that would support this idea and your thesis statement. So we found a piece of text evidence that refers to the part in the story where the dad is taking out the fish eye to eat the fish cheek. And then the last part, what I told them is I was like, you know what, 8th graders, you're amazing. You're amazing at reading a story and like understanding the basic premise of a story. You're amazing at reading a question and finding appropriate text evidence to answer that question. But it's this part right here, the analysis part, where we just kind of wither away. So then I showed them this slide and I said, we're gonna use this to kind of guide a conversation. And so with the story, I said, you have to really put yourself in the character Amy's shoes. Here is this Chinese American girl who says in the very beginning of the story that she wants, basically that she wants to be an American, and that she has this crush on this white American boy who is, I think she says, as white as Mary in the manger, but it's clear that he is American. So you have this crush on this boy that's coming over for dinner, and he is all American, this white kid, and your family is doing the cultural most. The food that they're serving, dad's eating, just doing what they would normally do. And I said, and imagine like if her crush came over and they just had egg rolls as dinner, would she be mortified? And they were like, no. And I said, why not? Because egg rolls are something that all of us pretty much know what they are. We've probably all tasted it, even though we're not Chinese. So then I said, what about if her crush came over and they were eating chow mein? Would she be mortified then? Again, no, because a lot of us have had that. And then last, I said, what if they were having dinner and they were just eating it with chopsticks? Would she be mortified then? And they were like, no. I said, so what is it about what is happening that's mortifying? And they got to the point where they realized it's because what the dad is eating is so like out of the norm for this Robert kid that she has a crush on, because he's just this American white kid. So I said, let's hold on to that. And then I said, and also we got to go to a place where we've all been. And what is it like when you have a crush on someone? How do you feel? What gives you anxiety when you're around them? What you like them, and typically you want them to like you back. And you feel like the only way for someone to like you back is you have to make it seem like the two of you have something in common. And I said, so I want you to think about those two aspects of this part of the story and work with your group to come up with 2 analytical sentences where you're really relying on those thoughts and those feelings that you may or may not have existed to write some sentences where you're analyzing that piece of text evidence. I probably said it more articulately than that, but that's what I said. And then I gave them about 7 minutes to work as a group. And I said, I want at least 2 sentences. And they did a good job talking about it, talking through it. And by the end of it, they came up with sentences that would very much be appropriate for a body paragraph if they were writing an essay based on this. So I felt great. Like, I feel like we all redeemed ourselves. And then tomorrow, I think we move on and they start comparing 2 pieces of work with the same thing. And I think by the end of the week, they're gonna start the process of writing. So this did delay us like a day or 2 in terms of lesson, but it's something that has to be done. And we did it. As far as history, we are, or they, most of them have finished this Google form that I created, because what they're gonna end up doing is taking this information to create a interview between, it could be Christopher Columbus and a reporter, it could be a Taino Indian and a reporter. They were assigned it, but what I did last year, and I thought it worked well, is I had them fill out this Google form to make sure everybody in the group knew the basics of what they were talking about. So this one was given to the group that was assigned New France, and they are told you're taking on this perspective of a coeur de bois. So they put their information in there, and then they're just asked some base. Is it gonna let me go? No, it's not. Let's see. Excuse me while I click. Unit 1. Here we go. Ask their basic information. Then it says, how would a coeur de bois answer these questions? So who are you and what do you do? What does coeur de bois mean in English? Why did you come to New France? Why aren't there more French people here? And what is your relationship with the American Indians in this area? So I, as the teacher, want to make sure they know that basic information about that segment of European exploration and that segment of interaction with Europeans and Native Americans before they go on and script this interview. So they fill it out, I check it, I approve it, and then they know they can script their interview, knowing that the interview should be more elaborate than these basic questions. They're in charge of creating their own props, whether they make them or bring things from home. They record on their phone, and then I have them put it on Flipgrid so they can add like the news looking overlays. So that's what they did in history today. And we read a little bit of Clap When You Land. Now, although there's a lot of kids that are not passing these quizzes, it seems like they are familiar with a good portion of the story because they're answering questions when we talk about it out loud. And so that made me feel better. But I also told the kids what I basically said to you guys this morning, which is, guys, it is what it is. Like, I can't force you to do these things. I certainly would hope that you would, but at the end of the day, like, I can't make it happen for you. And told them that I will not be rounding things up to 50% anymore and till further notice. So all in all, I would say it was a positive day, and I feel less anxious than I did this morning. I don't have that feeling of like something sitting on my chest. So that's good. So what I'm gonna do right now is just get everything ready for tomorrow, and then I'm gonna go home and get ready for another day tomorrow. I might check in again, but we'll see. Okay, it is Friday. It's probably about, it's almost 11:30. I did not vlog at all yesterday because I just had to get some things done. I have a sub today, so I had to make sure I had sub plans and had everything set up, so I didn't pick up the camera because I needed to stay focused for today, which is the rally day. This is the first rally of the school year, which means it's this leadership's class first rally. So we are in the gym all day. Behind us, practicing. They have been graced with a 15-minute break, so they are on break right now. On a scale of 1 to 10 in preparedness for them, it's about a 7, so they're doing pretty good. But yeah, I think they'll be okay. The theme is lights, camera, action, and it's just a rally for 6th graders, so just to welcome them to middle school and get them prepared and all that. So hello, good morning, good afternoon, good day. I will probably check in with you after school and I'll let you know for sure how it went. It is now about 4:10 on Friday. I'm gonna rehash a little bit because I did vlog earlier. It's Friday. I did vlog earlier, but it was on my iPhone, and I'm always iffy about taking footage on my phone because there's a variety of reasons, which I won't bore you with. But in case I don't show that clip, it's Friday. I didn't vlog yesterday, I was saying earlier, because I had to make sure I was ready for today. Today we had our first rally in leadership. Our first rally is always a 6th grade rally, and the days leading into it, like especially the day before, stop, Wolfie's looking at the camera, especially the day before, it's stressful for the kids, but in a different way, but it's stressful for me, just making sure that I have everything I need accomplished in terms of like sub plans and all of that, but also making sure that I feel like I've set the kids up and I've done everything I need to do as a leadership advisor so that they can have a successful rally. Also, like with rallies, you never know if you've timed them correctly. Are they long enough? Are they not? And all of those things. And so I'm happy to report that I'm home at before 4 o'clock actually, and the rally was a success. I'm very proud of my class this year. They did really well. What I feel like I saw in this class that I haven't always seen in other classes is that they had the ability to like problem solve during the rally. There was a couple of moments where like kids that were playing games didn't understand the rules. I didn't have to be the one to jump in and kind of tell them what to do to fix it. They figured that out on their own. The MCs were really good. You could hear them. The past 2 rallies, the last one we did last year, and this first one, we started integrating video so that some of the rally is being spoken through the MCs, but then some of it, like the story of the rally, is being told through video clips that we've pre-recorded and edited. That went really well, especially because we got new equipment in the gym, which is where we have our rallies. And then it ended right on time, like just enough time for the teachers to take their kids back to their classrooms, get packed up and leave. And then we were able to clean up and take care of that very quickly. So it was a success. I can take that stress off my back. That's one of the things that was giving me anxiety this week. So that's good. So I'm here, I'm home. It sounds crazy, but I'm gonna rest for a minute and I might do a little bit of work. We don't have students on Monday, but we have an in-service day. But because I've added so many more things to leadership this year, I kind of now need to look at the next thing coming up. And the next thing coming up is student elections, but we're only running them within 8th grade leadership, so it's pretty small scaled. And that is new this year. And Hispanic Heritage Month is coming up, and the month of October is coming up, and so there's some things planned there. So I kind of need to be pre-planned in order to feel successful. So with that, I'm gonna end this on a successful note, on a good note, and say goodbye for now. So if you enjoyed this vlog this week, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you would love to leave a comment, I would love that for us. It's great to interact with you guys, even though I'm not always able to get to them right away. And it just keeps me, like I've said in the past, keeps me motivated to keep vlogging, and helps my channel if you're trying to support the channel. And as always, I hope that you guys are well, and if you're not well, please be well, and I will definitely see you guys in the next vlog. Happy Friday, and I'll see you soon. And a little bye-bye from my Woofy boy. Say bye, Woofy. Bye. Say bye. Aw. All right, I'll see you guys later.